Okay, so I'm back. It has been, I think, about 3 weeks since I last did an update. A lot has happened. So if I go off of when I originally hurt myself on February 23rd, then this week would be the 6 weeks and everything would be great. And I'd be able to start progressions with walking and then into like weight bearing and all that stuff. However, last time I touched base with you guys, I was getting a second opinion that week. I went in, got that second opinion, and I just want to say I had received an x-ray. They saw an old break. And then I got an MRI. They saw the stress reaction. They saw the old break, but they did not see a new break. So then when I go to the second opinion, she did the physical exam and literally let me walk out of there. I had no pain around my navicular. Things were looking good. And she was like, well, let's get a CT scan just to make sure, but go ahead and walk. So I walked out of there and had breakfast, got the CT done, and then a few hours later, she was going to be able to follow up with me on the results. She called me as we were driving home, and she said, I have some bad news. And I was like, my heart sunk. I was like, oh my gosh, what does this mean? Yeah, I do have a pretty significant break in the navicular. Luckily, it's not displaced, so that's good. She said that I could have surgery if I wanted to return to sport quicker, but she said, if I can be patient, I should just go with the non-weight bearing because she believed it would heal. However, she said I needed to start the 6 weeks over. So that was frustrating because we were getting ready that next day to go to Florida, and I literally got it in my brain that I was going to be able to walk around Florida. Unfortunately, that was not the case. So getting that news was a little bit of a bugger, and I went through just like why did I, think that I could have stairs in the Airbnb that we were going to, how am I going to get on the beach? I had all these things. It's I'm going to have to deal with this scooter and trying to have my family help me. So I definitely struggled, and that was a little frustrating, but it ended up, it was fine. So we're now at this point where, I still have about 3.5 weeks left of non-weight bearing. So it's a little frustrating, but my foot actually feels really good at this point. So, honestly, when she let me walk out of there, I was like, okay, this is good. But by that night, I only walked on it for about an hour to an hour and a half, and it wasn't even that much walking. My foot was very swollen, so it shows that it absolutely was broke, and it was something that I should not be walking on it. So we went to Florida the next day. My family and we spent 10 days in Florida. It was really, really fun. I mean, we did so many things. We went fishing. We went and sat on the beach. We went and sat by the pool. We went to a car show. Gosh, we did so many fun things, and my family was great, and they helped me, and I got frustrated. Again, our Airbnb was a 2-story, so I had to figure that piece out. Basically, I tried to keep certain things downstairs and certain things upstairs. I crawled upstairs, so that wasn't terrible. I did fall a couple of times, one time in the bathroom because it was not a handicap bathroom. So, my immediate thought was, oh my gosh, I just added another 6 weeks. But I really just kind of hit my toe, so it really wasn't anything. And then when we went to the beach one day, we had to actually cross a pretty busy road to get to the beach. And on our way back, the sand and gravel is the worst thing for my little scooter. And as we were crossing, I actually fell flat on my face, and I actually hit my knee. I didn't hit my actual foot, but what was sad is that people across the street actually laughed at me. So I was like, wow, I am handicapped and you just laughed at me. So that was a little interesting, but my family and I had a lot of fun. Jack and he convinced me to go on the slingshot ride with him, which was really scary. And basically we went down and shot us up and spun us around, and it was really scary. So, but he convinced me to do that with him. Nobody else wanted to do that. We were able to celebrate Jack's birthday while we were there, which was fun. And then, yeah, fishing. We went to the Kennedy Space Center, which was really fun. We spent a lot of time together, which was really special for me. So, initially I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be a pain because you guys have to help me with this scooter. And it actually turned out great. Like, they were super helpful and we figured out ways to do things. And the scooter was actually great to have because, the first day we got there, or the second day we got there, we went to this big car show, and I was like, just for fun, I tracked how far we went, and we ended up going like 3 miles. So 3 miles on a scooter, I was definitely a little sore. And but we ate a lot of good food and we just had fun. And it's my son's senior year, so being able to kind of take the focus off of me for that 10 days was good, because I could really focus on my family and spend time with them and not really worry about racing was really good, because initially it was going to be revolved around racing. The cool thing is Jack, Abby, and I were able to go and watch some of the races while my husband Kevin went and hung out with one of his friends that lives down in Florida. So we were able to watch the 800 finals, and that was really fun. So watching the races that I was hoping to be in, it was very competitive and it was really fun to watch, and it just gets me really excited, and it makes me realize that, I do have a lot of work to do, but I can be right up there with those ladies, and I'm excited, to try that for next year. And I was able to watch my coach, actually, she won her 800. So watching her win the world championships was just really cool. So that was a lot of fun. And
We're going to see a new championship record here from Sue McDonald, #1 in the world, with 2:26.52. Virginia Mitchell also.
That was awesome. Sue was awesome. Anything else? She did awesome. No, I'm really proud of her. I'm excited that she's all the way in, all the way in, and she just won the world championship. Very cool.
then the next day we were able to go have breakfast with Sue, and she was able to meet my whole family, and that was really special. So yeah, lots of good things happened. I was able to aqua jog, and then I went to one of the gyms. It was actually a CrossFit gym. It was great because they had a ski erg, which is nice for upper cardio and stuff, and that was fun. They were super accommodating. And then when I aqua jogged, actually the water was really, really cold at the pool. So that was a little tricky to manage, but I was able to do all the workouts, and well, I kind of had to modify them because my legs actually went numb a couple of times, because I've come to find out when there's pools on condos on the Florida coast, they don't actually heat them in their winter time. So, as the week progressed, the water did get warmer, but the first couple of times I went in, I was very cold. So I didn't go in for as long as I would have liked, but I was able to do that. And then I brought some of my own like bungee gear and stuff. So I was able to do some of my hip stuff and, keep that going. So that was really good. And I even got my son to do some aqua jogging for one of his workouts, which was great. And yeah, we just had a lot of fun. So coming back from Florida, our travel was great. Everything was great. And before we went to Florida, track had started. So we had missed spring break track practice, which is pretty normal for our area. You know, there's a lot of kids that miss the spring break time, but while we were in Florida, the Jack and Abby were able to do some of the workouts and stuff, so that was fine. But we came back, and now track is in full swing. And, you know, our first meet was this last Friday. The kids did great. That was really fun to watch. I'm excited for the rest of the season. And yeah, just I wasn't sure how me getting on the bus for the track meets would work with my scooter, but everybody's really helpful. You know, I just ask somebody to help, and, you know, we put my scooter underneath the bus and it works out really well. So overall, I'm trying to stay super positive. Everyone is very supportive, and back in the swing of, you know, doing my aqua jogging. I started swimming, so I'm gonna swim twice a week. Swimming, though, definitely works my foot more, so I am using a pull buoy, so then I'm not having to kick as much, which is really nice. It allows me to get a little more cardio and not have to just be aqua jogging, so that has been really good. And so now we're going into, it would be week 6 that I've been dealing with non-weight bearing, and I have until April 30th when I go back to my doctor and we evaluate and see how things are going. And, you know, one of the things that came up was that, you know, I have literally like a grade 4 stress fracture, and still just the part of it that has been hard for me to understand is that I didn't feel anything until it literally was a grade 4. But I guess there is a small percentage of people out there that have these stress fractures and don't actually feel them until they are like a grade 3 or 4. So unfortunately, that is me, and I now know that. And so moving forward, you know, one of the things, you know, I did have some knee tendonitis that could have been some, you know, pain coming from my feet, and that was my body's way of letting me know. So I now know that and things to watch out for, because it's interesting, my prior stress fracture in my left foot back in high school was way different. I had pain, you know, from the beginning. I was just really stupid and kept running on it. So definitely something, now that I know what I know, I have to be mindful of that and look for other symptoms, and actually just really focus on preventing and leg strength and stability, and have my feet be, you know, really trained well and really ready to run before I run. So I definitely don't want this to happen again. Of course, I can't prevent everything, but now that I know that I have such a high pain tolerance for this type of injury and potentially other injuries, it just makes me more aware, and I'll be more careful, and hopefully I can prevent in the future. You know, having that high pain tolerance, I feel like it's like a blessing and a curse, I guess, but it's good to know that, so then I know, you know, a few things that I can do to prevent going forward. So I have, again, like a little over 3 weeks. I have till April 30th before I go in again, and the progression will be, if that goes well, which it should, my foot's feeling very good. I should be able to start walking with a boot, and then I progress to walking and doing some like lifts and body weight exercises with a shoe, and then I can progress to maybe biking and elliptical and some more weight bearing types of cardio. And then if those all go well, then I will progress into running. But then before I do any running, we will do another CT scan to make sure the bone is healed. So it still might be, you know, a couple months before I actually run, but I'm hopeful that everything's gonna go good. I've been doing all the right things. I haven't cheated. I've really been following the protocol because I really want this to heal, and I want it to do really well because I want to be able to be competitive in the next season. So thank you all for listening, and I will share the news later. And I appreciate all my followers and just people, you know, subscribing to my channel and learning about Masters Track and Masters track and injury. And I just, you know, if you're injured, it's something that happens. Like, I'm a competitive athlete, so it's gonna happen. Something is gonna happen. So, you know, I'm okay with it, and it's been a journey, and everybody's been super helpful. But I've been able to stay strong and staying active, and I know I'm definitely not where I want to be necessarily, but I know that I'm like keeping some fitness, and by the time I can start getting into some weight-bearing activities, it will actually be okay. I don't feel too many imbalances in my hips and my glutes and hamstrings and stuff. I definitely have atrophied right calf, but I've been able to find a lot of modifications to keep my hips and glutes activated, and it's working really well. So I'm excited for that. And so yeah, thank you. I will keep you guys all posted on my journey, and if you have any comments or if you want to learn anything else, let me know. One of these days I want to actually put together a video with all the different modifications that I've done having a leg injury, because I've made up some pretty cool ones that I think have really helped keep my hips especially balanced. So that I want to do a video of that you know, throughout this process. So keep your eyes out for that, and I will talk to you guys soon.